Yeah, it's been a real complicated profession. Hard to trust when you don't ever know people's intentions. Keep it independent. When they try to stop you, say, nah, homie, this is the way. Hey, yeah, so legit. OG, call me Boba Fett. You a little Padawan kid, taking notes and sit. I hold my head up high, just repping for these comic nerds, cosplayers, gamer kids, movie nuts, what a world. Yeah, just used to think we don't exist, right? And now it's cool to like the things we always did, right? I would be mad, but if I think about it twice, I'm just happy that we're getting all this dope content. So I just keep it cool, honey bunny, deadly like a Mace Windu. When I'm playing in Desert Rick, the only time I play by rules. In a different lane, I've been doing my thing, but just like Rocket, y'all been confusing me for Rabbit. Stop it.
Rabbit is correct and clearly the smartest among you.
I roll in solo, I'm stealing the show, that's Donald Glover. I pull the crossbow like Chewie and Usher for cover. The bounty hunter in the game with these raps. I just get the puck, check the fob, take them out, secure the bag. Yeah, midichlorians course through the veins. I don't know what that means, they sure keep it vague. Wanna stop me, it's obvious you're insane. If you thinking that you ever gon' hit me with stormtrooper aim. Yeah, they calling me Death Star, I'm about to blow up. I may be cute, but I'm also deadly, that's Baby Yoda. I'm in the booth, give me time to reshoot. Now I'ma show you why they're scared of me like Vader at the end of Rogue One. Ay, there ain't a beat I think I couldn't rip through. It's like I powered this microphone up with Kyber crystals. Firing missiles out the Falcon in this battle, and I'm about to take us forward to this universe. Call me Jon Favreau. Yeah, loving the light, but I'm really been feeling the dark entice me. I might go psycho, Kylo Palpatine, Darth Maul and Snoke. I'm grabbing a mic and thinking he got the skill. Step up and try me, I don't gotta be a fucking Jedi to force a show. Yeah, I think I found the droids you're looking for. We'll be at Comic-Con with all my people getting geeks. I'm like the Kevin Smith of rap, getting paid to tour. Talk about the shit I love and do it independently. So love the anime, Marvel, your favorite shows in DC. Anything to make you feel an escape from the stress. Do your thing, don't be afraid to be yourself. Believe me, they can never hurt you with the best Star armor fit. Yeah, I've been paying all these dues. Amateurs, you couldn't last a day up in my shoes. Still there's people who've been praying that I lose, but like Mando's helmet, I will not be removed, no. I'm going Cara Dune, locked and loaded. Training like I'm Luke, always stay devoted, yeah. Waiting for the Mandalorian Season 2 to drop. Until then, I've spoken.
This is the way. I have spoken. This is the way.
Hi, and welcome to Poptography. So today we're none other than celebrating the end of 2023 and the celebration of the new year 2024. And with that, we've been doing our top 10 Funko Pops for 2023 and things like that. I also wanted to host a top 10 images that I created in 2023. So let's check in with the chat. I don't think too many people are probably out there today. I know that I had to postpone this because I had my parents coming to visit for the holidays. So it got postponed tonight. They're actually being upstairs entertained by my wife and children for the next hour. Well, I spent some time with you folks going through the images that we wanted to take a look at for my favorite and top 10 of 2023. So let's go take a look and see who's out in the chat here. Oh, awesome. I got my buddy Christopher from Seriously Star Wars. 2023 has been a year of some incredible photos. You've definitely gotten better as the year progressed. Well, thank you, Christopher. I think that it definitely shows when you look at that recap video that I did of all the images. It really kind of soaks in, and you could really, even myself looking and reflecting back, I could really see the growth in myself and in the some of the techniques and stuff I use. So it's been really a fun year. Really has. And this journey has been excellent. I wouldn't have done it without the friends and folks here in the chat and subscribers like you. And you got Eric here. We're just about to pull up Sire Speed Reviews. Eric, hey Patrick. Hey Eric, how you doing? Thanks for dropping in. And hey Christopher from Eric over at Sire Speed. So thank you guys for stopping in. So I will try to keep this as brief as possible and not go too crazy and describing and getting behind the details. But let's take a look and see what's going on. Hey, Eric from Christopher over at Seriously Star Wars. So let's start with the very first image. So number 10, I have none other than the Ben Kenobi or Obi-Wan Kenobi retro series. So for me, one of the things that I liked most about this was really just seeing I think the look and feel of the comic book, look of the retro series, having that in combination um, with. Hold on, we got another comment there. Patrick has been putting out some fire images, but thank you, Eric. I really appreciate that, my friend. Really appreciate that. But this was again, I have the retro series. I think I have all the retro series, including the newest, the Boba Fett retro reimagined. The only thing I did not get, I guess it would say completed, was the R2 and C3PO from that. I don't know if I'll pick it up. Maybe if it drops on sale and it's cheap enough, I'll pick it up, because with the box and having others, I just wasn't really feeling that one. It just didn't look as good as the previous retro of 3PO and R2 for me to pick up. So anyway, with that said, one of the things I really enjoyed about this was, again, trying to keep with that whole comic book theme of the retro series and trying to make it look more graphic novel, using the halftone, kind of like a Liechtenstein. What I decided to do is I usually use what I call my virtual volume, which is nothing more than my computer monitor behind me, and photograph my Funko Pops in that and light it so it fits in the situation. Well, I did that with this image, but one of the things I did a little bit differently, again, trying to keep with that whole graphic novel comic book feel and look, is I was taking these images and opening up on another app that I have on my MacBook Pro. It's called Comic Life. And Comic Life is a great little piece of software that you can purchase. It's like $30. And what's nice is it can take your images and turn them into like comic books. So what I want to do is take my background images and give them that pixelated halftone kind of look, and then have the Funko Pop itself in front of that. So it really kind of helps sell, even with the dimension and everything. It still had that comic book feel to it. So that's what we did here. And I really enjoyed photographing this retro series. I don't know why this one speaks so much more in volume to me than the other images from the retro series I photographed. I know I photographed Vader, R2 and 3PO, Chewbacca. I think I still have a Stormtrooper and Luke to photograph of that series. I did the retro reimagine, but I really, this Kenobi, the pop itself, I very much enjoyed, as well as just this image has been one of my favorites ever since I photographed it. I just loved it. So I had to still keep that in at my number 10 at this point, from 2023. Personally, I don't have the retro series, but I really like the images you take of them. Well, thank you, Christopher. I greatly that's a uber compliment. I appreciate that, my friend. So we'll move on to the next image. So coming at number 9, this one was kind of fun. I did Dark Side Ray. One of the things I liked about this, again, using the virtual volume, which again, my computer monitor slightly behind the Funko Pop itself, was when creating this image, was trying to find that right balance, right? So I'm trying to make the pop look like it's in the situational lighting of the backdrop. So it really sells that it's in this environment. But one of the things I really enjoyed was finding the image to use, what was going to sell. Like, how would I know that that's the old Death Star, stuff like that? So I was able to actually find a scene, pause it, capture a still frame, throw it behind there, and light it. Now, the other thing that I really enjoyed about this was, in photographing this, I wanted to have like a set. Now, one of my good friends, probably one of the people in the chat, got this set. So I had done an earlier image in the year of Rey floating using the Force with the rocks. It was a very kind of green, nice bright light highlights coming from behind. But the Funko Pop itself was Rey on acrylic floating. And I had some rocks and stuff that I positioned and everything under that same lighting condition, so I could Photoshop anything that was holding them up or in place, Photoshop that out, but it had all the right situational lighting to match the same exact lighting Rey was under. It was a great image. and I personally felt like I needed to have a yin and yang to it. So, of course, when I finally got my Dark Side Ray, had to use it. I knew exactly in my mind, okay, what's going to sell that? Well, we have her coming in the tune with the forest and floating. Well, we got to have her in the dark side. And where does that place take place? Takes place in the destroyed Death Star remnants. So we went to and used that image. And one of the things I enjoyed about lighting this even is the cheekbones. So not too many Funko Pops really kind of carve out and cut out the cheekbones like that. They're usually that kind of rounded face. But not only did Ray have that, she had the shading there, the shading around the eyes. So it's all those little details that kind of help sell that dark side Ray. So I just had to complement that with the lighting and the backdrop to make this image work. So I really did enjoy being able to pull that off. Hey, Jedi Robbie, thank you for coming in. Happy New Year to you as well. That was very nice. And we'll hate Patrick there. Cyrus Speed Reviews. Eric, what's up, Jedi Robbie? And Seriously Storage, Christopher saying hello to Robbie. Jedi Robbie, hello. Hi, Eric. This is so sick. I like Sith Ray. Yeah, thank you very much, Eric. Yeah, again, I needed to have a yin and yang, and to that lucky person, he gets to have both of those. So I'm very excited that I was able to gift those, as well as be able to tell a story of the duality of a person's personality. I thought it was really kind of neat. Jedi Robbie said, "Hi, Christopher. It's currently past 12. Happy New Year. Everyone wishing you all amazing 2024. Oh, that's right. With Robbie being overseas. So, Robbie, thank you again. Happy New Year's to you as well. And nothing but good health and maybe a little bit of wealth to you in 2024, my friend. Jedi Robbie, love the background on the Darth Ray image. Thank you. Yeah. Again, just trying to sell the fact that she was in this environment from that scene. And if you had watched or tuned into the images I was creating last year, this is kind of that. I didn't do it like back to back. Like sometimes I'll do a series, like I get inspired and I'll do like a Darth Maul and an Ahsoka, and kind of pair them together. Or like this year, another time I did that, I did a young Leia holding Lola, and then the next image I did Princess Leia at Yavin handing the medal out. So like it's kind of fun to kind of see those images of a character or pop, if you will, and seeing that kind of growth and maybe the similarities. Like I felt that one was kind of neat to kind of parallel to see a young Leia, not much different than the older Leia, even when it came to the hair and everything like that. It was kind of neat to see that reflected, just like it did in the movie. Happy New Year, Robbie, from Christopher over at Seriously Star Wars. Jedi Robbie, thanks with a big smile. So this was my number 9 image. And again, just having some fun trying to, we didn't get to really see too much of Darkseid Ray except for that one scene. So I felt it was a really great scene in the sequel trilogy. And I could not wait to get my hands on this pop. I think it took a little bit longer. I'd ordered it from Entertainment Earth and it was back ordered for a little bit, but I finally got it. I could not wait to finally photograph this one. Awesome, Jedi Robbie. How's 2024 treating you thus far? Robbie in the future. Hey, Tony popped in. Hey, Star Wars Sith there. Happy New Year to you, my friend. Hey, Tony from Eric over at Cyrus Speed. So coming in on my number 8 of my top 10 images for 2023 is none other than Ahsoka the White. This image is an image that I really, really enjoyed and was very excited to kind of get this image out there. I think for me, it was waiting to get this pop was the hardest and longest part about this shot was, as many people know, this kind of came up unannounced. It was an Amazon exclusive, came up. If you saw it and got it, boom, you made it. And then it was gone and sold out. And everybody, a lot of my content creator friends were really out there trying to get a hold of one of these. I think I gave up on Amazon after kind of like they canceled an order and then they put it back in and, playing games. I think I literally at that point was like, you know what? I know I can get it. Go to Aussie's Collectibles. It's in Australia. It'll take 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks to get here. But I have the peace of mind knowing it's going to get here. I'm not going to not get it. I'm not going to have to sit there and try to see if it's sold out again and wait for another restock. So I just went through them, got it 3 weeks later, came. And I think I got her immediately on the set. And for me, if I usually take a pop immediately on the set, there's something about that pop that's really inspired me to like right now. Let's get this out there. Um, and this was such an iconic scene from the end of Rebels. And I really, really like this. Is one of my favorite Funko Pops. It probably would have made my best of 2023, but I felt that this kind of came right at that cusp of the end of last year, 2022. So if it did come out in 2023, is the probably first pop that got delivered in that time frame. And for me, it's been one of my favorites. But I did find a few pops this year. If you tune into my other video of my top 10 for 2023 Star Wars Funko Pops, you'll see she didn't make the cut this year for that. So, but this is definitely one of my favorite all-time Funkos. I love this one, and it's definitely probably my favorite of all the Ahsoka Funko Pops. Dope image of Ahsoka the White, says Eric. Thank you, man. Thank you, Eric. Generally great image. Thank you, guys. Best Ahsoka Funko Pop. Yeah, I agree. It's a great image. Even with that new wave of Ahsoka, I was hoping on like a second wave we'd see another Ahsoka, but like maybe in the white without the hood and the cloak. With it, I wouldn't care. Maybe different with the lightsabers. We did not, unfortunately. But fingers crossed that Funko is going to do us right, because they have been really kicking some ass lately on the sculpts and the turnaround time of getting these new Funkos. So I'm still very, very confident and excited we'll get something really cool in the future. But this one, not much I really had to do for this one. This one I just kind of, again, used a really nice sunset. I think I got this image, background image from Adobe Stock, and just used a little bit of warming gel on one side. And again, balancing out like we see in the actual sky, we've got the nice warm versus the cool tone of the temperature going down as it's going to sunset. Played with that lighting with gels and stuff like that, and really was able to sell this image, very well, as coming and looking like it's in front of that sunset. So really enjoyed this. It's an iconic scene from the end of Star Wars Rebels, and we kind of seen this rehashed slightly different in the new Ahsoka series. So again, just like Christopher here at Seriously Sorry, best Ahsoka Funko Pop, hands down. Take the Pepsi challenge at every day and twice on Sundays. It's that great and a great a Funko Pop. So anyway, let's move on to my next Funko Pop. So for my number 7 image is none other than the Mandalorian Din Djarin and Din Grogu, or Grogu, Baby Yoda as most of us call him, in the N1 Starfighter. So this was a really cool image. I was very excited to photograph. I actually did this in conjunction at the time with the Toy Photography Collective was doing a challenge, if you will. And I think it was like vehicles. You had to do something, including a vehicle in it in some fashion. And of course, I had recently gotten this bad boy, and it just happened to all fit. So I was like, okay, that's happening. I want to put this, on the set, get it shot. I was very, very excited. And so what we did with this one is kind of interesting and fun all in one. So we shot this against the virtual backdrop. Now, you might not be able to tell, or you might. The virtual backdrop is actually an image from Disney Plus from The Mandalorian when they're going through hyperspace and they see the Purgles. So you actually can make out, if you're looking, you can kind of make out the Purgles in the background. It's not just blurred hyperspace, but it's the actual Purgles going through that with them, like we saw Grogu notice them in at season 3 here of The Mandalorian. So want to kind of capture that. Then shooting that on the set, I actually had another layer which I was able to do some blur motion to further kind of add, Din Djarin and Grogu going through hyperspace with the Purgles in motion, and just it was just a fun image. I really love this kind of pop ride, or it's actually called. This is from that Hyperspace Heroes line. So I was very excited to get this pop. It was really cool. And I just thought it was very detailed. I love the size. It's not overly large, because as any collector will find, you, space does become the next frontier and challenge. So it's nice to be able to have these pop rides or hyperspace heroes in a small, compact little size, and this is just perfect. They did recently do the R5 with Mando in the N1. I am not sure I'm going to pick that up. I just think the one with Grogu is the bomb diggity. It's really great. And I can't really see getting the same exact thing except for a slightly different detail with the droid. My only callback was, I've said this on the Star Wars Popcast, is I would have really liked them to have made a version where you could pop out Grogu and interchange it with an R5. That would have been a neat little thing. Could have charged us a couple bucks more. I get it. You'd rather have us spend another, $29-30 to buy a whole nother Funko Pop Hyperspace Hero. But honestly, if you're going out for the collectors, I think that would have been a better thing. That's just my take on it, is be able to make a Funko Pop or Ride or Hyperspace here that can have some interchangeable features. So when you're displaying it, you can have some fun and mix and match and change it up a little bit. That's just a personal thought. I don't know what you'll ever do with that. So, all right. Take a look over Sire Speed Reviews. Eric, oh yeah, fire. Thanks, Eric. Jedi Robbie, fire. Thank you, guys. Great recreation of that scene. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that, Christopher. That's a great idea. Yeah, I think it's solid. I mean, stop gouging the collector. Your collectors are your bread and butter. So if you work together in tandem and you keep a happy a group of collectors, well, you've got, you're going to always have someone that's going to constantly collect and purchase your product, as opposed to just gouging them every time. I mean, I don't know. I just find that kind of ridiculous. To make it a little more interchangeable for a little price point markup would have been better than selling two separate things. That's just my thought on it. But again, I just love this image. I love the color. I loved everything about it. The motion, the vehicle, the whole idea of introducing the Purgles. It was just a lot of fun. What up, Eric, Chris, and Jedi Robbie from Tony over at Star Wars Sith? Oh, hold on. We got another. I'll get the Mando and R5 at Ross for $4.99, right? If they end up carrying it at Ross, Tony, and you see it, pick me up one. That's when I'll get it. But I'm not going to spend another $29-30 on the same Funko Pop with just that little dude in place with it. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Because I did just pick up Anakin and R2D2 in the Naboo Starfighter. So, which is cool. I want to kind of compare them. Maybe I'll do a video this next week where I compare those and kind of take a look at them side by side, the two hyperspace heroes. But they're perfect in the size, but there's so many differences in them, and I really want to kind of compare them because I do love the yellow of the Naboo Starfighter, and I like the brush metal here with the yellow accents. It's very fitting to Din Djarin. If you had the Razor Crest, has a lot of those same kind of markings, so it's kind of cool. And then the flashback with young Annie with the goggles and the Naboo Starfighter helmet. It's just a really great pop. R2 in the back. Can't beat it. So at number 6, I have none other than Baby Ahsoka. Now, this, in fairness, is not a Funko Pop. This is from Hasbro's The Bounty Collection. They're another series of vinyls, and they're geared to have some fun. They are geared to be lighthearted, adorable, and fun. That is it. That is really the key thing. Because if you look at it, it's mostly Grogu. But this year, we've gotten some really fantastic, I think it was at Wave 7 or something of these, but they had Baby Ahsoka. They had the Loth Cat. They had a Chopper. They had a BB-8 giving a thumbs up. So they had a lot of really neat ones this year. And they did have one that was an Entertainment Earth exclusive that I still want to get my hands on. It's Grogu and the Rancor napping together. It is adorable. It's a larger piece. Obviously, the Rancor is going to be pretty big, but it looks adorable. And that's something I want to get. I do want to photograph it. But I do really like this, collection of the Bounty Collection from Hasbro. And this one, once I saw it in the store, I was blown away. We have talked about this on the Star Wars Popcast with my co-host Christopher and Lex about wanting to have a Baby Ahsoka. We've even had some concept artists and talked about those and their designs of doing them. And I'm surprised we haven't gotten a Funko Pop, or why we didn't get a Funko Pop of this. So once I saw Hasbro take this is just awesome. So I was very excited to kind of get this image in there, mix a little bit of my practical set in the foreground and my virtual volume to really sell that. And then just to add a little AI where I can actually put the butterfly in there, so that she actually has something that she's looking at in the frame. So it was just a lot of fun. Love the color and the hue saturation, and love this kind of scene, because we sort of saw something like this in Tales of the Jedi with Baby Ahsoka, but it's such a short little bit of time that we had with her. And I just loved it. I really loved it. It really kind of brought that heart and soul of Ahsoka to us. And you can see she was a Jedi from the moment she was a young little toddler. So really cool being a youngling like this, interacting. And I had so much fun photographing this one. It was a really good one. Cute for sure, said Eric at Sire Speed. Yeah. Jedi, very cute. Just as long as they make your Baby Ahsoka smaller than the average Pop to keep things in scale. Yeah, I know. I just don't think they will. I think if they do a Baby Ahsoka, it won't be small. It'll be a normal 3.5, 4-inch size. That, to me, that's what it'll be. Because unfortunately, Grogu is always that size, unless he is with some other character or monster in the scene. Then they scale him based on that character, I've noticed. So when they did like Grogu in the pram, and Din Djarin walking from Mandalorian season 1, that movie moment, it's the pram with Grogu in it, and then you got the Mando walking side by side. That is one where it's to scale. The Grogu with the Rancor is more to scale. But other than that, they really haven't had the characters together where they're always to scale. So even if you get some of the other Funko Pops, they're kind of off. Like I have the new Grogu, I think it's like 664, Grogu in the pram. Great looking pop. Love it. Absolutely love it. Definitely made my top 10 of 2023 list. But even if I was to photograph that next to, say, the Mando or any of the Mandalorian, any of those Funko Pops, it's a little off. I'd have to probably play with perspective to really sell that. So I'd either have to bring the Pam closer up and have the other character in the background to give that perspective, or vice versa. Bring the other character closer up and have the pram in the background to kind of give it more true to scale. So playing with perspective is the only kind of real trick with doing it in Funko Pop. But that's kind of one of the reasons I really enjoyed this, is because I can get a Grogu. And one of the images I did this past year was of the Incinerator Stormtrooper, and had him interacting with the bounty collection of Grogu, where he's holding back the flame. And it just is really neat because it had the flame, the orange acrylic, and so did the Incinerator Trooper. So kind of being able to put those together really kind of was great. And having something a little more to scale helped. So I really kind of fell in love with this little collection of figures. So they've kind of became something I now collect, as well as if they're cool to photograph. Now, I did intend to do a new image of Grogu in the pram from the bounty collection. I had a Christmas gift in hand, and I'll be honest, the only reason I didn't was trying to, in this image, I still wanted to show and highlight because it was something I photographed earlier in the year, but I didn't want to take a new image of a Hasbro product right now. I used to work at Hasbro, and I was laid off, and it stinks. It stinks. And I know a lot of my friends and collectors out there love Hasbro product. I love Hasbro product. I love Hasbro. I love Star Wars. I love Marvel. I love all that stuff. But what I don't love is watching friends, colleagues, and other creative people, the people that actually make the ideas happen, make the toys happen that we play, collect, and enjoy. Whether you're doing a toy photography, whether you're buying them for your children, those are the people that are losing their jobs. And here in Rhode Island, we give them a tax break because they're creating more jobs. No, what they do is they create more jobs that are more temp positions because they don't want to pay benefits. So here we've got people right out the back door. We've got RISD, one of the greatest Rhode Island school design for, graphics and art. And you can get great students out of there. But what they'll do is they'll pay them contract instead of hiring these kids and give them full-time gigs. And so with that big layoff of 1,100 people 2 weeks before Christmas, and it's the second time in 10 years they've done that at the same time. So they didn't learn a lesson from the first time. They came back to the state of Rhode Island. So honestly, I don't want to go off on a whole rant about it, but I just want to, in a moment of solidarity for Hasbro and my friends and families that are involved in the layoffs that happened right before Christmas, I chose not to create that image. So, and I don't know if I'll come back to it. I probably will at some point later when I'm not as bitter about that, and and trying to be a little solidarity for you guys out there that just lost your career. Um, but know that people do give a shit and we care, and that I'm showing in a very very small way my support. I'm not going to make any ripples in the ocean, but I do hope that me maybe saying something will maybe let those collectors think about it. And I know a lot of guys are jumping on the raw sales and things like that. It's awesome, and I'm glad you can. Hasbro's already made their money anyway off that, so go get them. But my thing is, I wasn't going to photograph another Hasbro thing for a little bit after that, especially during the holiday. So anyway, enough about that. Let's get on. There we go. Padawan Pop stopped in. Our buddy Will here. Happy New Year, everyone. Thank you for popping in there, Will. Appreciate it. Let's get on to our next image, okay? So our next image, number 5, we're already halfway through the top 10 images I created for 2023. And what's fun was being able to pick what images, because they all had something different to them. There wasn't anything all just this, just that. It was a mixed bag of things. So the number 5 I chose for a couple of reasons. One, let's get to the image and you can see it fully. So the reason I chose this one is because, one, this is a custom Funko Pop I've been working on. And I based this off the old comic book. So with the Death Troopers and where they became zombie troopers, stuff like that. I just thought it was a really neat take. Then combined with seeing, literally, I think just after photographing it, just before I was able to publish this, Ahsoka aired, and we got the Night Troopers, Thrawn's Night Troopers, with a little Night Sister magic rising up from the dead after being pretty much wiped out and killed off by Ezra, Ahsoka, and Sabine, rose back from the dead and started having to reanimate and fight them a second time around. So creating this image was a lot of fun because I used more of a practical set. So I used some diorama displays that I had for the inside of the Death Star. Kind of used, I have a piece of black foam board that I cut like a little hatch style door out of it. Back when I was doing Luke Skywalker, walking down, doing his Carter scene from Mando season 2 finale. So I originally built it for that, and then I'm reusing that same kind of set diorama and door to do some of these images. But what I also did is added some what do you call it? Not sod, but like it's I can't even think of what it, like flock and stuff like that you'd use to use for miniatures, things like that. So I grabbed a bunch of that and kind of put that in, like you're looking at a remnant of a place that's been overgrown, nature and the jungle's taking it over. And then you've got your stormtrooper that's been possessed to become a zombie trooper. Just a lot of fun. So I had, the mist coming in there, turned it to a green color, did the eye, the blaster effect. But even just doing this Funko Pop was a lot of fun. And I did make a second version of this that was a one-of-one from my friend Christopher here in our chat from Seriously Star Wars as his Christmas gift. And now he had once used a Zombie Strange. So I used a Zombie Strange to do his version. So it was custom just for him for the pieces he requested, which is a lot of fun. So what was cool was being able to do his after doing mine and trying to figure it out. To do the second one was a lot easier than the first one. But these are a lot of fun just to do a custom. And again, I rather see Funko do some more work like this during the holiday seasons than others. So, but let's get back in here and take a look. We got some other comments in here. Yeah, that's terrible. And thank you, Do Right. Yeah, thank you, Eric. I fell victim to the massive layoff, and it stunk. I have a family, so when you get laid off and you don't have an income to support your family, or you're the bigger breadwinner of you and your spouse, it's a big deal. And I hate to see anyone kind of be in the lurch like that, especially around the holidays. It's awful. It's awful. Hey, Will said, seriously, Star Wars. Hey, Will, Happy New Year over from Eric over at Sire Speed. Zombie Trooper 6 at Christopher. Thank you, buddy. Thank you. As you are a proud owner of the second one and one of a kind. Again, I didn't even make it exactly like mine. Use remnant pieces of mine. Got a whole new 2 Funko Pops and created you your very own. Padawan Pops by Buddy Will said Zombie Trooper. Yes. Hey, Will, said Jedi Robbie. I don't know. Oh, some zombies. I was like, what is that? Oh, character. Sick, said Eric. Who is the zombie pop? Zombie Strange. Jedi Robbie, you nailed it on the head. So the one that we did for Christopher was Zombie Strange. This one here was actually Zombie Iron Man. I chose that because I wanted something a little bit different. I think with Chris, with the Zombie Strange, I think he's like a pale skin. So his is a little different because at first glance, you might miss it. But then you kind of notice because it's like a gray, it's a slightly different grayish white as opposed to the white, weathering of the Stormtrooper Remnant helmet. But I chose this one because it was a glow in the dark. It had something that contrasts against the white with the blue and the yellow eye. So that's the only reason I chose this one. There was another one I was debating using was I think a zombie Deadpool was another one I was thinking of going to use. Yes, love the one you sent me. Awesome. So glad, Chris. So glad. Thanks again, Patrick. You're very welcome, my friend. Andrea is here. Thank you for popping in, Andrea, from Padawan Chronicles. Happy New Year, Patrick. Thank you so much. And Happy New Year to you too, Andrea. Hey, Andrea, from Eric. Giving you a little clap back there. Congrats on another year of amazing throws. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I wouldn't have made it through this journey without the help of my fellow Star Wars content creators like Andrea, Christopher over at Seriously Star Wars, Cyrus Speed, Tony, Star Wars Sith. All of you guys have been a great inspiration. Will Padawan Pops, Noah, Rogue Nation, they're all of them. You guys have all been excellent mentors and really just became great friends and part of my Star Wars family. Like Jedi Lex, and can't say enough about her as well. I almost feel like I have a younger sister now because of Jedi Lex. I do have a younger sister, my sister Kelly, but now in my Star Wars family, I have Lex added to that. So I love you guys. You guys are great. Hi, Eric, and Happy New Year from Andrea over at the Chronicles there. So yeah, this was a fun image. I again really enjoyed doing this one. It was fun to kind of have an idea going into the Halloween season, getting the extra surprise while watching that during the season of Ahsoka, and I was just blown away. Now, honestly, had I had my Thrawn's Night Troopers, then I probably would have done the same type of customization to one of those instead of my Remnant Trooper. But again, I didn't know that was going to happen. I was basing this off the comic books. And if you see the video, I think I created for this one, you could definitely check that out. It kind of goes a lot behind the scenes and show you where I was inspired by and everything like that. So a lot of fun. Happy New Year, Andrea from Eric over at Cyrus Speed. All right. So at number 4, I chose to use include my image of the probe droid. Why? Oh, why would you have chose this? Well, one, Funko does an absolutely fantastic job when it comes to aliens, droids, things like that, especially droids, I think. And this one is an earlier pop, I think from a year or two ago. This is from the Battle at Echo base. And this particular Pro Droid actually has like a snow base and stuff like that. So very different than what it was intended for the pop and the scene it was recreating. But I chose this one to utilize from Mandalorian season 2 season 3 when we had the Imperial, who was supposed to have kind of been like an amnesty kind of employee into the New Republic, when she was going to have that secret transmission with Moff Gideon, kind of letting us know that she's still working the other side. She hasn't really bought into this whole I'm giving up the Imperial and going for the Rebel Alliance, the New Republic, and going to claim amnesty and all that. No, she obviously is still in cahoots with the Imperials and working with the imps in the behind the scenes. And this was a really great scene with the probe droid kind of going through this very cyberpunk looking area of the city, and then transmitting the holo. I just thought it was really cool. I wanted to recreate this droid in that moment. And so one of the things I had included is I just really love the detail of the Funko Pop, the lighting that really sells the situation. I mean, it really looks like we're looking in the alley at this droid floating through. It had all the right pieces coming together to create this fantastic image. And this is still one of my all-time favorite images. I just love the droid. I love the colors. I love that scene. I loved how I was able to try to get so close to recreating that scene. Just with, again, the simplicity of a few lights, a computer monitor, and a toy. That's one of those things I love about toy photography. If you can think it, and with a little ingenuity, you can make it happen. So I really love this image, and I had a great time capturing this one. Congrats on the animated photos. Thank you very much. Hi, Eric. Where are we at? Happy New Year, Andrea. I kind of went backwards a little bit. Here we go. Seriously, Stars, great image. Thank you, Christopher. Really appreciate that. That's a dope one. Also, every time I see the probe droid, I can see the squid droids from the Matrix. This is so clean. Thank you. Yeah, those squid droids kind of had that same menacing look with their fluid motion of those like tentacles moving. I love that. I love that kind of stuff. So yeah. Padawan pops for a 3-alarm fire coming from Will. Thank you, Will. Really appreciate that. Really, really do. Really do, guys. Yeah, this is again another image I just really liked. And again, I had this is actually, someone asked, did you ever photograph a Funko Pop twice? I think I've done it to 2 now. This is the only one at first that I did that with, because I think one of the very first images, I brought him out in a snowstorm during COVID and started photographing it. So that's kind of how I started photography, when I started as toy photographer, and recently did a whole rebrand. But I kind of started with just, like many people, being stuck in during COVID, and we saw people kind of getting more into collecting and more into toy photography. For me, it was just, I need to have a creative outlet. I really want to do something. And I blended both of my passions of Star Wars and photography and kind of put it into here. And then challenged myself and tried to do it in a way that inspires others. So instead of breaking out my medium format camera, large format camera, SLR, just a regular SLR, shoot slide or film, or any of those things, I tried to do it just on my iPhone. And I figured if I could try to light it and shoot it and capture it in my iPhone, I could prove to anybody with just a little bit of thought and a little bit of creativity, you too could do this. It's not rocket science. It's just having fun and experimenting and playing. One of the other photographers I really like out there that it was very similar into my thought process is Matma Films of Amusing King. If you see his channel on YouTube or Instagram, Sir Dork, Jared over at Sir Dork is another one. Guys that in my opinion, I think really do a fantastic job with toy photography, taking it to that next level, having a YouTube channel and sharing some of the things they've learned or they think is a really cool tip to share to inspire somebody else. So I really enjoy that about the toy photography community. And I think really COVID really kind of brought us closer together, like really forced us together and getting creative. So that's kind of how I started my journey into photography, was through kind of that COVID world. And people ask, well, why don't you photograph? Why do you do Funko Pops? The reason I do Funko Pops is because, like I said earlier, I had once worked at Hasbro, and that was kind of like my day job. So photographing figures that you would normally photograph for your, putting food on the table, to me, that wasn't what I wanted to do. I wanted to have something that was fun, a challenge, but fun, and something that was different. And so, again, when I first, started working and didn't have anything at my desk or studio area, the Funko Pops became something that I started adding, and that started how I started collecting. So, Matt is an awesome dude, said Eric. fellow Texan. Well, thanks, man. Thanks, Eric. But let's go to our, I think we're at number 3. At number 3 already. Bum, bum, bum. And we are. So we're at the final 3 images here, folks. So let me move on. So this image of Maroc, definitely one of my favorites from this past year. This is easily one of my newer images because I recently got this pop a month or so ago. But I'll explain a few things I like of it. One, I think this pop is absolutely fire. It is, I think, being underrated by collectors because of how the character came and went in the series. He was nothing but a Night Sister fart. So being that we all had this, oh, it could be Ezra, it could be this, it could be this, could have been this phone. We were so excited in speculation. And then I think all of that excitement and speculation and hype and build up literally left us like a fart in the wind when he became the Night Sister fart and got killed by Ahsoka. We see the green, smoke essence of the Night Sisters expel out of his torso. We're all that we were just as let down as that was. I was like, what? He's a nobody. I think that was a disappointment for a lot of people. And because of that, whether it's a figure, a sideshow collectible, a hot toy, a Funko Pop of this character, I think it's going to be underrated. Now, what I've enjoyed about this Funko Pop, and again, if you see my top 10 Funko Pops of 2023, the reason this is in my top 10 is because it has a lot of detail. And I'm talking, it has the finish, the paint finish, which has that metallic look. So you get the metal. Then you get the weathering of it, which kind of has some dirt, grime, rust. You get these really great pieces that kind of combine in with the figure. It looks like it's tarnished and weathered. You have the kind of half cape that he wears off the shoulder, like in a motion kind of pose with it kind of blowing in the wind. You still get to see his full arm underneath it. It's not like they just kind of lopped it off and didn't show it. You get his full arm underneath that cape. Then he's kind of off to the side and going behind him. He's got his double-bladed Inquisitor lightsaber, which is very detailed. And this pop, honestly, is one of my favorites and probably most underrated of this year for sure. Again, I call that due to how the character came and went in the Ahsoka series. If there's more to him, I'm sure people will be clamoring for more. But I think a lot of us enjoyed him. And then this pop here, I think, is absolutely fire. So if you haven't picked it up, definitely pick him up because he's a great looking pop. But in creating this image, what I want to do is kind of create that scene of him in the forest fighting. So I used my virtual backdrop with a little mixture of practical. So what I actually did is had a little faux set with some sticks and branches in the foreground. So it kind of had that to go with Maroc, and then it had the background. Also in post-production, added a little mist and fog, changed the color of that to the green to kind of give it that Night Sister, possessed magic going on. It was just, again, a lot of fun. And this image just had a lot going on for it with the shine and the shimmer and the lightsaber, the background and the color scheme. It's one of those images. I don't know. It just speaks volumes to me. I really liked it, and it became one of my favorites towards the end of this year. All righty, here. Let's take a look at the chat. Great image of the Night Sister fart. Yeah, that's what I'm calling him now. He's the night. I love Maroc, but he's the Night Sister fart. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Christopher. Maroc Pop is nice. You picked the right background. I felt fart in the wind. Yeah, I think we were all disappointed when he became nothing. Like there's so much hype and speculation, and I think it was that mystery. Like, who is this masked man? And it really had us going. And when the Night Sister magic expelled out of his torso, and he's scream. And we were like, that's it. That was it. We were just blown away. And most of us who had watched Clone Wars, I believe even Andrea has caught up to seeing the Clone Wars where she got to see Savage and Maul fight the Emperor. And if not, I'm sorry if I spoiled that for you, but hopefully you have, so I didn't. You would see what happens when Savage, the same thing happens. So we as fans have been keeping up. and saw Clone Wars weren't surprised when we saw that happen in Brock. We knew exactly what that was. So I don't think Shin Hati knew. She kind of looked over and was a little troubled by seeing and witnessing that. So it was kind of neat. But I think for anyone that's been a fan and had watched the Clone Wars and saw the same thing happen to Savage, we saw that same magic when Mother Talzin helped her son Darth Maul and helped put him back together and get his legs going, released him from the spider, just cool stuff. So I kind of wanted to add that to the image. And I think it worked for the image and for the character. I really like that a lot. All right. So we're almost closing into the end here. We've got number 2. And number 2, I chose to do Princess Leia. Now, this is probably one of the simpler images I created this year. But sometimes it's a simplicity that just makes it so. And I'll explain that. So the Funko Pop had a great pose. Great pose. I can't remember. I think this is from one of the newer. I don't think this is the Power of the Galaxy. I think this is from like the Star Wars Celebration Leia that they released. But I really like the pose. It's got a hand on the hip, the blaster out, and I couldn't think of like, well, how could you really like when you see Leia in that outfit? What do you think? And I came thinking, you're in the Death Star or you're on the Tantive 4, I think it was, on her ship. And I kept thinking, well, how do you sell Leia with the buns, that white outfit, it just puts you there. And I kept thinking, oh, well, she had the blaster. It was a different blaster when she was shooting back at the stormtroopers and stuff like that while she was on the ship. But regardless, it felt like what kind of thing, backgrounds would really suit Leia. And this is actually the same background that we would see that Carter with the mist and the lighting with her handing the Death Star plans to R2-D2. So I used that same background on my virtual backdrop, again, my computer monitor, placed that there, and then again created the situational lighting so that I can light and gel those lights to make it look like this pop was actually existing in that environment. And the image helped too, that it had so much depth to it. It really helped sell the depth of field and that she was in there. Again, sometimes to me it's the color, and the colors in this one with the red and a little bit of blue, which kind of when they hit and kind of mix together, you get a little of that purple. Her wearing the white, everything's kind of dark. It just pops out. And this has been one of my favorite Leia images I photographed. Definitely one of my favorite that I photographed this year. I come back to this one all the time as one of my favorite Leia images and Funko Pop images. It's just a fun one. And to me, of a lot of the many shots I did over the last year, this was so simple. And sometimes it's that when you just feel it's right and all the pieces come together, it's like Hannibal from the A-Team. I love it when a plan comes together and works. It's exactly what happened. I had a great backdrop, a great sculpt in the Funko Pop. I was able to light it up very simply to make it look like it's in the environment, threw the iPhone in front of it, captured, done. And it was so simple. Again, just very strong image using some very simple tools. Oh, we got a comment from her. Forever our sassy princess. Yeah. General, she'll always be a princess to me. Yeah, I feel the same, my friend. Great image, Leia, said Christopher over at Seriously Star Wars. Well, thank you guys. Yeah. And this one, I just thought it was neat. Now, I was originally thinking, do I put her in R2? And I thought about that, but her just standing and R2 there, I couldn't get that kind of crouching and her reaching to put the plans in. So if I couldn't have that, it wasn't really going to kind of sell the scene as well. So that's why I didn't do that. And I chose to do something more like this. It's just kind of fun. I mean, Leia was that, I think for men and women growing up with the original trilogy and having Princess Leia as an iconic hero, I thought it was great because it showed to men and women that, listen, not all girls need to be damsels in distress and rescued. This girl's very capable of handling business on her own, as she showed many times in the very first movie in New Hope, right? As they're trying to rescue, how many times are we watching her being rescued and we're scratching our head going, is she rescuing these guys out of the situation or are they supposed to be rescuing her? So I always loved that kind of play that Carrie Fisher had. in her character and portrayal of Leia, especially in those scenes. So it was a great iconic scene, image, Funko Pop, and definitely one of my favorites for 2023. So without any further ado, drum roll, and we are going to go to my favorite and number one image of 2023 is none other than Grand Admiral Thrawn. Now, why I decided to choose this image, particularly in my top 10 and making this the top, again, simplicity, right? I think that's kind of something that came in the last 2 or 3 images I found that was like, yeah, these just kind of fell into place. They looked right. The lighting was right. So again, for this one, we used our virtual backdrop. This one, I actually, and we've seen this a few times in the last year, not just using a straight up image. I've actually paused Disney Plus to get like an image of the safe, the Imperial safe on Aldani. When we were doing the Aldani heist with was it Velsar there, Val, whatever. We did that. We've used 3D renderings, 3D models, a slew of different things over the last year. Practical, on location, and then doing this. This is actually a 3D model of the inside of a Star Destroyer. So you have the TIE fighters hanging, and I was trying to recreate that scene that we saw in the final episode of Ahsoka, where Thrawn's standing there and the 2 TIE fighters just drop and fly out. I want to recreate that iconic scene because there's very, very, I would say, moments that when you saw Thrawn in the Ahsoka that you're like, whoa, it just commanded, and it made you feel everything you saw in Rebels, everything you had in Heir to the Empire and Red, and even if you saw the fan-made animation, it just has that feel. So I want to kind of give that same, when you see this image, it's Thrawn. Now, another little trick that I did that made this kind of a fun image is not only was the lighting important, because the lighting on this one really brings out the cheekbones, the furrow brow, all that really comes together with the lighting on this. But one of the things I did was a portrait photography trick. So a lot of times you're taking a portrait of somebody, because again, when we're trying to photograph certain characters or people, right? If I'm shooting someone from a low to high, I'm giving them that perspective that they're bigger, like they're bigger and they're looming. There's a larger presence. And I was starting to do that for this. But with the Funko Pop, I was seeing too much of the underneck and too much of the neck piece. And it just really bothered me for this one. And so I harkened back to another portrait trick of maybe bringing the person on an angle and then maybe having them lean forward. So in just that kind of forward lean, and what I did is I stuck a bunch of playing cards under the base of the pop, so it elevated them up on an angle. And that angle gives us that perspective. One, if he's very sharp, but you'll notice it starts to get a little less out of focus by the time we get to his rank and his belt, stuff like that, just a little less in focus. But all his face and the details of his face are 100% in focus. And by putting that lean, it also kind of gives that character like he's coming closer towards you. He's got that more menacing look. So that little trick from portrait photography worked really well here in photographing the toy of the Funko Pop here. The same kind of principles applied. I used a hair light. I had 2 rim and separation lights and fill lights. So again, when I photograph my Funko Pops, I'm using a lot of these same things you'd use to photograph and do portraiture of people and different product shots and stuff like that. So we're applying those same things here into just our Funko Pops and just, using my Lume Cubes, which are great little small LED lights, and my iPhone. So being able to combine all those to be able to create these fantastic images and recreate these iconic moments from Star Wars to share with you and for myself, just to have something fun to do and creative. Oh, my cat's meowing at me. What do you want there? She's wanting some pets. So again, this is my top 10 list and images for 2023. I have had an absolute blast this year creating them all, and I can't wait to continue for the next year. Well deserved is number one. Clean. The background, the pop, the lighting, his stance. Yeah, 100%. Nice choice is number one. Thank you, Eric. Thank you very much, man. Incredible but simple image. Sometimes less is more. It is. Sometimes, um, there is another image. I think it was the Morocco image. When I started building out, I had all these trees and I kind of had them like woven in the middle there. And even I think when I was doing the Grogu and a Pram, I was trying to build up some of the cave and all this. And um, I got rid of all that because it was taken away from what is the focus. The focus, I know adding more dioramas stuff helps sell the scene, but sometimes the scene or other pieces can take away from the actual product or what you're selling. Or in this is I'm trying to put emphasis towards the character, the Funko Pop itself. So yeah, sometimes guys, it is that simple work. The keep a simple stupid theory, the KISS theory, right? It does work. And in this one it was really well. Again, I don't think if you have the new Thrawn Pop where he's holding the blaster in his hand. So I recently did my what was it? It was a toy hunt. So it was on the hunt video where I picked him up and we pulled him out of the box. So if you check out that video coming out, I don't know if it's released or it's coming out, but if you check out that, you'll see a difference that I was very bothered by. So this Funko Pop, and I believe the 2018 has a lot more definition in here and in the brow. When you see the new Funko Pop, with him holding a blaster. And again, this is kind of supposed to be from the Rebels, which I get, but the other is the newer one with the blaster is definitely from Ahsoka. Never held a blaster at all that we saw unless it was from a cut scene, but that has none of the cheekbone, none of the furrow brow, none of it. It's a regular rounded Funko, red eyes, but it does not have this. And these are the details I think that make this Funko Pop and help make this image great. I really do. Without the definition shape of that, it probably wouldn't look as good, at least to me. So again, trying to work with what you had and create this image, but I'm glad I have this version and not the previous, the newer version with the blaster in the head. It would have worked. I would have had to figure out something else to shoot that. And even now that I own it, I want to go back and get another one of these and do a head swap because I like this head 10 times better. And that's my opinion. I am curious to see what you folks thought of my top 10 Funko Pops that I shot, as well as the top 10 Funko Pops of 2023 that I picked. So I'd love to hear what your top 10s were. Love to hear what you thought. Some of the other, was there an image that I photographed this year that I did not put in my top 10 that you really enjoyed? Please put it in the comments. I'd love to know. I'd love to get some feedback. Is there any Funko Pops that you might have seen me do a what's in a box or an on the hunt, either when I toy hunt or do an unboxing that from something that was shipped? Is there anything of those that I haven't photographed? You're like, hey, Pat, I'd love to see that. I know I had a challenge out there about a month, 2 months ago now, where someone said on actually Padawan Pops, we were talking about favorite things that we could do in doing Star Wars. I said, I would love to be invited on the set of Star Wars to do a hallway scene, whether it's like Darth Vader, Balin Skull, Darth Maul, any of that. I'd love to be tearing it up in a hallway scene. That would be awesome. And then in that comment, I think someone saw that I commented and then, hey, would you be interested or could you do a Luke Skywalker hallway scene, in which we did. And it almost made the cut. It probably should have, but again, I didn't. There's so many images that it's so hard to pick. And if you haven't seen all the images, definitely check out my video on the 2023 recap of all my images of 2023. It's a plethora. It's a few minutes long. So grab a cocktail, check it out for a few minutes. You're sitting on taking some public transportation, and you need to occupy yourself. Put that video on. That'll occupy you for a few minutes and definitely engage with you instead of wasting time. But like I said, if there's something I haven't photographed that you'd be interested to see, let me know. I'm always up for different ideas, and sometimes I kind of hit a dry spell. And I know I've been changing my shooting schedule a lot over this last year. And that was because I didn't want to get burned out. Again, I don't want to burn out of the thing that I'm passionate about. And I also didn't want to just kind of turn and burn images around just to crank an image out. So I think at one point I was doing like every other day to 3 a week to maybe 2 a week, and now I go between 1 and 2 a week. And I feel that if I can concentrate and have more time to get a very more one really solid image a week, that's great. I still would like to try to keep myself at like 2, 2 a week if I can. It's a nice little balance. But again, the kids are in high school. I've got other obligations as well as work and stuff like that. So I try to help out as much as I can in the community and things like that. So my time's kind of, it's optimum, right? So optimum time to get into here. So if you guys have ideas, throw them out there. I'd love to see what you got. This way, when I get to shooting, I can take a look. Hey, you know what? Someone gave me this idea, and I've been mulling around for a week or so how I pull this off, and I finally figured it out. But I'd love to hear some feedback from you folks and stuff like that. The Insider and Grogu images fire. Oh, thank you, man. Thank you, Eric. Yeah, I didn't include that. Again, there were so many really good ones in there. I think I tried to pick an image in here that was different. Each scenario, there's something about it was slightly different, whether it's the backdrop or when I finally got that pop and the excitement of getting that pop and getting it immediately to set to was I using not just my computer monitor, but was I using something different? I don't think any of the ones I included here had like where I was actually on location. Like I think we did like the sand speeder, or not sand speeder, but we have done a sand speeder in the past, but we did Din Djarin and Grogu on a speeder bike. We did that at the beach once. I think we did the Ewok, Brett Hupp on location. So little things like that. And I didn't really include, again, we had so many images. So maybe I should just do top 20, but no, we're trying to reduce it to a top 10. It's hard to reduce these things. That's why I didn't do a top 5. That would have been even harder. So again, thank you all for coming and enjoying the images over the last year. The Thrawn photo is awesome. Thank you, Andrea from Pedal and Carno. Thank you very much, Andrea. But thank you all. Again, I've had an excellent year, and I really look forward to growing my channel, growing my skills, and growing my subscribers, and hopefully help you grow your skills this next year. If you're into toy photography, please tune in, check it out. I try to demystify what I do so that you can try to do this on your own, and hopefully that inspires you to get creative and get out there. If you're a Star Wars collector, I hope that you enjoy, just watching and checking out the images. So things like that. Again, I just love Star Wars. I love photography. This is a great way to kind of mix match and combine all those in one. So again, thank you very much. It was a great 2023. I'm super excited for 2024. And see what happens. Let's see what the new year brings. I hope everybody, my friends, my followers, subscribers, I hope you all have a wonderful 2024. I hope that you celebrate 2023 tonight with friends and family if you can, if you're able to. And I hope you, again, best of health and maybe a little bit of wealth would help. It definitely wouldn't hurt in 2024. So with that, may the force be with you and have a happy new year.